Season 18 Act 2 just dropped, bringing with it a new For the Damned styled world event. Let me give you my hot takes. We'll start with the positives. The Molten Sand Fortress is the definition of high risk, high reward. After grinding for grade 5 on any emissary, you must then hunt down a big boy Eternal Guard. The Eternal Guard actually has some difficulty to him, and his teleportation ability allows the Poltergeist to pressure you throughout the island, meaning every battle with an Eternal Guard should feel at least somewhat unique, as fights can happen on virtually any terrain. After defeating the Purple Nurple, you receive a key. Now you have two options: sell the key to an emissary, or sail deep into the Devil's Roar like a man and take on the Molten Sands Fortress. Choosing the latter has you fighting through 3 waves of familiar skeleton lords, and a single wave against a skelly captain. For some reason. To add extra spice to the challenge, the skeleton lords brought their goons to the battle, and man, these skeletons came to play. These guys beam lasers and show no mercy. It's honestly a welcome challenge. I've always felt that the world of Sea of Thieves should feel rough and cruel. For any of the newer players watching this video, before Season 11, all skeletons had this aimbot, so it's very nostalgic to see the firing squad back again. It's been too long. Anyway, when you start this lengthy battle, an orange skull appears above the fort, so be prepared for PvP invasions. For all your work, you earn a huge loot haul and a sought after item, the Orb of the Banished. Just reading this script out loud, the Molten Sands Fort sounds like a top tier world event, which it certainly is. So why is Act 2 actually a disaster? If you read through online discourse, one of the most prominent criticisms of Act 2 is reused content. It's a fair critique. Unique skeleton lords, or perhaps a new enemy type patrolling the forts, would be a welcome change. Personally, I am not opposed to remixing old material if the new content feels fresh. And for the most part, Molten Sands does feel fresh. The fort's layout mixed with Devil's Roar terrain and aesthetic gives the old bosses a breath of fresh air. But the skeleton lords could at least have new models, or better yet, give the Ashen Lord blue flames and extra damage. That would have been nice. Nah, the real criticism of Molten Sands is its time-limited availability. In my last video, which is on what Arena would look like if it returns in 2026, I detailed the pros of adding time-limited events that are on a distinct rotation. Essentially, what I argued is that Sea of Thieves should have rotating game modes outside of high seas that appear, disappear, and reappear every few months. Think of TDMs, Naval 2v2s, etc. I like to think I made an effective argument, but Molten Sands is not that type of content. The thing about Molten Sands is its mere existence adds value to the Sea of Thieves sandbox. When players hit grade 5 for any emissary, besides the Reapers, the first thing most people do is cash out their loot and drop their flag, rinse and repeat. But Molten Sands gives players a reason to hold on to their emissary. Also, the fact that you have to reach grade 5 to start the quest means the rest of the PvE sandbox, the things you did to get to grade 5, is naturally tied to the new event. This is a genius move by the developers. The fort's design, plus its coveted rewards, gives the event inherent longevity. Plus, because Molten Sands is deep in the Devil's Roar, players battling the fort and those looking to contest them are being pulled across the map. If Molten Sands was a permanent addition, the Devil's Roar, which is historically the least populated region of SOT, would see a long-lasting population boost. But if it's not because of staying power, why is Molten Sands a time-limited event? One theory is that Rare is doing it for a quick player boost. There very well might be some truth to this. FOMO is a powerful tool in the short term, and believe me, Molten Sands will be popping during this season because of it. But I also think there's another reason. Even though Molten Sands is unique, it's still another skeleton fort at the end of the day. The skeleton lords you fight are the same dudes, just at a different location. Because of its similarities, perhaps Rare fears the older skeleton forts will lose player retention, that the For the Damned will become the next Sunken Kingdom. But let's pretend Molten Sands isn't a time-limited event. After a few months, mainstream interest wanes. Now each fort has its own value. You can easily activate the For the Damned with the Skull of Destiny, but you run the risk of invasion just by being in a prominent area of the map. The Fort of Fortune is the rarest skeleton fort, as you can only find one organically, and if Rare puts the Chest of Fortune back into its vault, it holds substantial value. The OG Skelly Fort is the classic, quick and easy run, and Reaper Forts, I don't know, they're just cool. Think of them as the unique fort that holds intense free-for-all AI battles. Thus, in this niche, the Molten Sands Fort would fill the role of the pre-season 11 for the Dam, a high-risk, lengthy world event that's pretty rare because of the effort and risk associated with it. Look, what I'm arguing is that Rare made a catastrophic mistake by making Act 2 of Season 18 time-limited. Time-limited events are not new to Sea of Thieves. Anyone remember Adventures? In fact, some content has more staying power by being time-limited. The Smuggler's Heist comes to mind, but content that adds value to the sandbox should be permanent. Season 17 is considered by many to be one of the worst seasons in Sea of Thieves history. Season 18, to put it lightly, is off to a rough start, and making its second act finite only adds salt to the wound, which is why, as of right now, Season 18 Act 2 is a disaster.